Hello, everybody. We are here at the Eldora Speedway with Connor Meyer, our colleague here in the booth.
How's it going?
And we're at our first of 2 dirt races in the season. Cars lined up for the first of 4 heat races. Tonight we're going to be doing things a little bit more old school as far as the way we're going to be setting everything up. Qualifying for the 4 heat races, drivers were randomly placed in the buckets, qualified for the per heat. Top 6, I believe, is what we have advancing onto the A main. That leaves 12 cars in the last chance qualifier to get into the final positions of the actual race. Drivers can be eliminated out of this, whether they are full-time or not. We have 36 cars here in total competing. 2 new faces who are also spread out across the field. We'll be seeing them in the later races. For now, we have our first heat race. We have 9 cars. Only 6 of them are going to be guaranteed into this final race. On the pole, we have Thor Gunderson in the Monster Energy 1. Spencer Davis right behind him in his PureTech Ford. Behind them is Scott Porter and his 24 McDonald's. Body Armor 83 by Evan Coward. Timmy Weathers in the 35 Dude Wipes Toyota. Louis McClure in his new paint scheme, the 87 Royal Purple. Crasta in the 63, Keith in the 42, and Douglas in the 21. Of this first field of 9 cars, what do you anticipate?
Well, the fact that there's only one Toyota in this whole group, he's going to be kind of struggling for help. But, I mean, Eldora, you don't really rely too much on other manufacturers with you. The 30 of Spencer Davis being up front, he's going to be the one to watch this race.
Always, that is one of the fastest cars that we have in this entire series. So that'll be really nice to see how he will be standing up to everybody else. Of course, now it's being a dirt race, it's going to be a little bit different. But still, he's showing how strong he can be. This is all still randomly seated and re-raced for qualifying, and still got second in the heat. So that still shows him being strong.
Yeah, and then these are all 9 of these cars are full-time drivers.
Everything there, that means 3 of them are being knocked down to the last chance qualifier race, which could definitely hurt them in points. The final race is where they will register points. So you need to keep your car clean and try and get as next positions as you possibly can and avoid finishing 7th through 9th.
Yeah, basically 6th place is where you want to be.
Exactly. That way you can just kind of chill.
Which I don't think we'll have too much upfront battling, with people. Because they'll be locked in. 6th place on back is where all the action is probably going to be.
And speaking of cars in the back that have been doing all right, it's surprising the last place qualifier, Aaron Douglas, team owner of Western Auto Racing, who is, I believe, 3rd in the points right now. He's really struggling with this track.
Yeah, he had a little bit of issues in practice and qualifying. He's one of the slower cars in this group. But just because he was slow during then doesn't necessarily mean he'll be slow during the race.
That's true. He could always be playing it on trouble, so we will pull him in, and we'll see how he goes.
In 63 of Brandon Crassa has had 0 luck this season.
You really have, especially after the car bleeding and blowing an engine. It's been a huge wound to this team. They have been struggling all year to really keep this car afloat in the very bottom latter half of the field, and that has to hurt you emotionally wise. It takes a toll, because every week you go in and have a car that's fast, but just something always happens.
Well, they must be feeling really good this week because they did bring a second car to this race.
They did, and so hopefully they will make a slight adjustment to what was going on before. maybe it'll be better. A little bit of extra R&D. Car's now leading around the field. Dodge Challenger pace car. Will duck down. They will have 10 laps on this first heat. Gunderson Davis will lead them off the line. 9 cars in the first heat of our first dirt race. Green flag is in the air. This is an absolute no points race. This is all about getting into the main. Keeping it pretty even on the sides. Work that back half crash to trying to get into the transfer spot.
21's trying to go with him. He wants to get up front.
42 has fallen way back after that. Those Western Auto Racing Dodges chilling out back there. That has to be frustrating.
That's not going to be good for that team if they both finish below the cutoff line.
They do.
Still kind of double fall up front a little bit.
Good luck there for Davis. He continues to kind of slowly fall back. He is probably not too concerned about that right now. He's just trying to keep the car clean. Porter has moved himself up to second. Actually got a nice fast car catching up to that Monster Energy Dodge.
'83 and the 30 right next to each other for a minute. They're teammates also in this heat.
Those two Fords. A couple of the fastest cars we have in the league. Luis has moved up a little bit as well for him. He's trying to catch up to the 63 for that transfer spot. 42's trying to recover, but man, that 21 definitely got to be off pace. 4 seconds off from the leader right now.
Yeah, the 21 has just been struggling all weekend so far. It's not looking too good for him this race.
Wow, that is pretty unfortunate.
The 63 continues to hold on to that final spot. 35 trying to make a little run on the 24.
Sure has. He's gotten pretty close to him. That dude wipes Toyota. He's just trying the bumper of Porter's car. He's in a pretty decent spot right here. This will guarantee him third place for starting in the A main. So I mean, that's pretty comfortable, actually.
That's right where you want to be.
Inside position. That's a good track part. Not bad at all.
I think the 63 is starting to fall back just a little bit from this main group of 4.
He sure has. That car's all by himself. 42 trying to work his way around the 87. They themselves, though, have about a half a second, but if they fall to the last lap, there will be enough time as Kyle keeps to the inside of him. Winner of the first heat race, this will be Thor Gunderson, Monster Energy Dodge. From Manco Motorsports, congratulations to him. You win the first heat race. Guaranteed top spot. Porter starts behind him. Weathers in the 35. Coward in the 83. Davis in the 30. And to round out the transfer spot, Crasta in his 63. Warren moves to the last chance race. We'll be starting there with Luis McClure and Aaron Douglas. See those transfer cars. We'll go around the track one more time. Not bad.
Well, pretty much what we expected. The lead cars didn't really give each other too much trouble, and you know there was a little bit of a battle behind 6th place, but they were never close enough to really do much.
Exactly. You'll be right back to the next one. You're ready here for heat race number 2 at here at Eldora Speedway. Third member joining us in the booth, Benjamin Thomas, in the race reporter. He will then be stepping out of the car and announcing with us in the booth. Pretty strong day. We have most of these cars. A lot of Dodges also starting off in this field. we're going to go through real quick just to see what our lineup is going to be for this race. Starting off on the pole is part-time racer for West Auto Racing. That is Trenton McPherson. Right behind him, that is our English quarter, Benjamin Thomas, and Pennzoil Ultra Platinum number 9 Dodge. In the 62 car, we have Joseph Onesto in his TN Design Chevrolet. Behind him is DeLusso in the Bass Tracker 60. Kevin Campbell in the Whataburger 9-3. Jay starts in the Pennzoil number 19. Our new driver, Andrew Weisbecker for Southern Pride Racing, is in the 00 Valvoline Chevy. Joey Sanders in the Ollie 36. Running up the field is Anessa Johnson in the Royal Purple High Mileage 27. Ira, what do you see changes in this field? What do you see that's strong and weak?
So one car to watch is going to be the 78. Part-time driver. Both of the Western Auto cars in Heat 1 finished 8th and 9th, and there's two more in this field starting first and last.
So that's quite a big gap, as you can see. As you can see, that shows obviously the power plant difference. We all know the 78 runs the power plant that Louisville car runs in, who is currently in second. I was going to also transfer into this. Ben, as you're about to start this race, is there anything that you have any pointers and notes from the previous races that you've been running off of for this dirt race?
I just hope that we make it out and that we can advance on beyond this key race and make it into the main race. I know we haven't have a wrecking. Hopefully, we can keep the car in peace and not wreck the time.
Awesome, man. Good luck to you as they take the field to the green. And the 9 and 78, both of those lubricated Dodges heading down into the first corners. Trenton and Ben, they hold this field going 2 wide.
And another car to watch is the number 36 with Joey Sanders. He's been running real good all season.
Cars stayed nice and tight in this heat. That transfer spot is kind of swapping back and forth. That is going to be with the 00 and the 19 Valvoline versus Pennzoil going on there with the Royal Purple car. Sanders, for some reason, as you were mentioning, he's falling short right now.
Well, he's trying to play it safe, but it looks like he might be playing it a little bit too safe. He's going to try to get underneath the 19, hopefully.
Maybe if he can, he's trying to move up around there. Meanwhile, Johnson trying to fight with that transfer spot. She's currently underneath DeLusso, but he just shut the door on her. Almost a 3-wide situation.
A 00 of Andrew Weisbecker in his first career race right now, making his way up the field.
He sure has. He's gone from the back of the pack. He's now peeking underneath the number 9 car. Ben, looks like your car is kind of slowing down in there. Any concerns right now, or are you just playing it safe?
Just playing it safe for now.
Nothing wrong with that. He is just wanting to keep the car under control. Back to that transfer spot location. Johnson's really trying to get a pass to him. That looks like that is the 62 car Nesta who is slowed up, and she's making the pass halfway into this race.
The 36 trying to follow her around track.
He wants to get up there. We also mentioned he will come out of nowhere, and that car will just kind of just wake up as he passes right underneath the 62 car.
The 27 continues to hold on to that 6th spot, the final transfer spot.
Kind of unexpected out of her. That car's been struggling all year long, started from dead last, and now she's working her way underneath the 60. Maybe they made some adjustments after that first race with the 2 poorly finished Royal Purple cars to maybe change something around for that Dodge team.
Yeah, the 2 Western Auto cars in Heat 1, both are really slow, had a lot of issues. So they probably learned from that, knew what they needed to do, and got the 78 and the 27 both running right.
And speaking of the 78, he's got almost a 2.5-second lead over Kevin Campbell and Benjamin Thomas, who are riding in 2nd and 3rd right now.
The 78 is probably one of the quickest cars we've seen so far between both races.
Certainly has. I mean, that's a 19.735 second lap, and this is on a track that's going to progressively get more and more loose. But that's pretty good out of him. 36 also has worked his way around the 60 and has worked his way into the transfer spot.
That's not good for both team motorsports cars. There's 2 of them in this heat. There are 3rd ones in a later heat.
He's also joined back there. That is Jay, currently running in the 7th spot. That is not a good spot for him. As they cross the white flag, that probably is too late for him to catch up to the 36. Meanwhile, already coming around to the final 2 corners, it looks like Trenton will score a win for the heat race number 2.
Yeah, his second race back since Daytona. Definitely a good way to come out.
And how about Andrew in his first race moved up from about the 7th spot all the way to 4th. Not bad at top 5 to start off the dirt racing season.
And so definitely looking for more out of him, in the A main.
And we'll be waiting for Ben to join us up here in the booth. From that, we will take a short little break, and we will join you guys for heat race number 3. All right, we're here for heat race number 3 at Eldora Speedway. I have both Gibran, my bad. I have Meyer and Thomas with me here in the booth. All 3 of us, we got for the 3rd heat, we have Gibran, Big Man, Lemon, Bambura, Meyer, in-race reporter, Pritchard, the Steel, the 22 of Brad Smith, first race in Daytona, and the 28 of Big Rick Johnson. Ben, first time in the booth. Welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
So it's been quite a while since you've been here. Happy to have us. Meyer, of course, will be our in-race reporter this time. He's in the car at the moment. Being that, first of all, any words to stay off of Jay from the last race since he didn't get a good spot into the final race?
I'm a little disappointed in him. He's still just trying to get the hang of things, I guess. I don't know what was going on. I talked to the rest of the team over there, and they had the same setup I did underneath my car. He just couldn't drive it. I don't know.
With the track getting progressively faster, we're seeing speeds in qualifying that we didn't even see in the last race as it gets more and more worn. I'm noticing it being looser, but loose as fast. Is it keeping the car pitched out that's helping you guys, or is it just the fact that it's finally wearing in?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think I truly expect that the speed's going to keep going up and up the longer we go tonight. And we could see some crazy times by the end of the night.
Well, awesome. Down to our guy sitting in the middle of the field right now, step down to Connor Meyer. Is there any concern with you and your teammate in the middle of the pack right now?
Yeah, no, there's no real concern. As long as both of us stay above the top 6, that's really all that matters. If you watch, the last heat, the 00 started outside the top 6 and still ended up in the top 6. So it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
That's very true. You just got to hold on. Maybe you can work yourselves way through, as we saw very true with the miss in the last race. She was able to make her way even above the transfer spots. So I wish you guys the best of luck to you two in your both of your cars. Another team, we have a Penske Satellite team that's best in the world racing, Kenny Bambura. Ben, as you've raced and having a little bit of contact issue with him in the last race, but you know that team has plenty of power in the hood. You think maybe he can work himself up to maybe even getting a win. This is only a spot that's a big help for him.
Oh, for sure. I can only imagine with that kind of power, he's got to be able to make moves, especially with how this track's run tonight.
Even with Gibran, too, this was his first pole since Daytona, so he's turning up on the front here in the 3rd heat race. Big Man in Manco Motorsports, who already has a heat race number 1 win. And Dodge has also been sweeping the entire weekend so far. They have both heat race 1 and 2 in the books.
That's very interesting. Dodge has not won a race yet this season.
Yeah, they've struggled big time the entire season, and out of nowhere they finally have it figured out. So
they came with a great dirt package.
Different package. This is their land, is being sideways, so that could be a good help. Drivers waiting for the commands. Lemon also is a guy to watch out for. He's been secretly in and out of top fives in multiple races this season, so he's another guy just to kind of keep your eyes peeled out for. Racing the Napa Brakes car. That nice black and gold paint scheme looks good underneath the lights. Somebody who also kind of escapes always being talked about, Brad Smith, and that 22 Nikon Ford. See his car being fired up right now. That is, he finished, I believe, in the top 5 at Daytona, short to Gabron in that race. So he's another guy to kind of look out for. He's got speed when it counts. They get ready to take the green. Pace car currently running down the back stretch. We'll let these cars rip. These cars on pit road. Gabron, Big Man, Ford, Dodge, Chevy, all right there in the top 3. Green flag is in the air. They head down into the first corner. Trying to move out of that transfer spot. That would move Pritchard into the 7th spot. Hunter Meyer also trying to block it, hold him up. He wants his teammates to transfer. Pretty smart move.
Yeah, but it's also risky. You back everybody up. You could get past yourself.
Yeah, they are back-to-back right there. Gabron already has a second lead over Big Man. Todd goes straight to the inside. Pritchard is now the shorthand of the transfer spot. Meyer holding on there. So side by side with Castillo going down the backstretch. Brad Smith now trying to move himself up. Like I said, this car will want to move up and out. He's trying to move himself around Connor Meyer right now. Kind of surprising for these Toyotas. These are normally like some really fast race cars. And race reporter, he's got to be frustrated with him. Meyer, is there an issue going on with your Toyotas right now?
He's not really having a lot of speed in them currently. Currently getting tossed by the 22, not really having a good time out here.
I imagine the words of frustration coming out of the Tide Pods, that big bright orange 29 car. Kind of unfortunate to see him being moved into the latter half of the transfer spot. Bombera, as we were just talking about earlier, he is now trying to move around Big Man into the 2nd spot. Gabron just having a heyday. He is 2.5 seconds ahead of second. 5 seconds ahead of the leader in total. That car is that fast.
Well, we saw it for qualifying time. I mean, he was a whole 2 tenths about ahead of second place. So
Definitely showing there he's nothing short of getting around these guys. Castillo, who started in the back half of the field. Wow, that car is thundering as well.
I almost wonder if he could, if he wouldn't have started before that, would be up there with Gabron.
He just scored a 19.8 coming across the line. That's one of the fastest times he's registered on track for the race. He's now in the 2nd spot. Also, Brett Pritchard, he has got that car back under control. He has moved himself around the 22, still has the 29. If he can get around the 5, he can help out that transfer spot for his teammate towards the back. Over there, running out of time and fast. Right there, the 5 just kind of slipped up. This track is running out of grip and fast. 51 looks to be inside of the 5. He needs to hold him off so 29 can follow suit. However, we have less than a mile before that could happen. So he's trying hard, driving it deep into the corner. He is gaining a lot of ground, but it's just not going to be enough for the 29 to be able to transfer. Congratulations to Gabron on getting yet another win this season for the heat race. However, it is not still an official race. Vehicles who are not transferring out, the 29 and Tide Pods of Carter Meyer, Brad Smith, number 22, Baker Johnson, and 28. The rest of the field is advancing to the finals. Check right back in. And we're getting ready for heat race number 4, the fourth and final heat race, fourth and final of the 9 cars. We have all 3 of us now finished in the booth. They have Mr. Meyer joining us back in the booth after that heat race, and unfortunately missing the transfer position. He'll be up here with us. You want to help us go ahead and we'll lead through the field, starting with the 95. We have Quinn Izo for Craftston Nation. He is second race now, joining into a new race team that sponsor over. From Magco Motorsports, part-time driver, Titus Strobelaber in his 88, still unsponsored Dodge. The 37 of Scott Vickers, his Toyota. Out of the Meyer Toyota Racing Shack, we have the Mobile 1, number 15 of David Walsh. Kim Salmon and the number 91 Pennzoil High Mileage Dodge. Another Meyer Toyota Racing vehicle, that is Caitlin Murray and the Subway 92. The 79 of Justin Osborne, Austin Yoakum, and his Jake's number 10 Toyota. And rounding out the field, part-timer, with the number 55 Lucas Oil, we have Russ Blackwell. Pretty decent field, also kind of mixed up too with a lot of part-timers. This could be an interesting one. Connor, you've got 2 of your teammates in here starting in similar positions of they were before. Any words that you were kind of hoping that would change the outcome of events this time?
Hopefully a better finish out of these 2. The 51 of Brett, he ended up advancing with a 5th place finish. I unfortunately got 7th, wasn't enough to get through.
Hopefully the outcome will be different. Ben, you've also got a newcomer in this first race, racing for your 3rd car. What ended up bringing this guy into the team? What made you guys choose him?
We saw some potential. We've seen him out at some of the lower tier races, and he showed some good speed, and he the car control. So, and he liked the dirt, so we figured, hell, we'll give him a shot, throw him on the dirt, and see what he does.
Nothing wrong with that at all. This could be a very pretty good damn race for him. So all the luck to him as they get ready. Field bunches up.
I think the one to watch here is going to be that 10 car of Austin Yoakum. He's been fast all year since he started.
Very, very good driver. He gets easy to move through the pack, as we've seen the skill field before. So it shows that it can easily be done. Green flag is in the air. 95 currently leading them around. Tide is trying to work his way around the outside. They stay bunched up, too wide all the way around the track. 91 looking fast.
And the 79 is starting to move his way up through the field a little bit.
He has a little bit of straight up there. He dives to the inside of that 91 car. Caitlin kind of struggling towards the back of the pack there. She's stuck on that outside line.
The 10 car kind of gave little 55 a little bump there.
He did. He's
Weapons racing.
Probably has speed. It's always frustrating when you can't use it.
The 15 is trying to make a move on the 88 there. 79 on the 91.
If we can move underneath him, that shoves that 91 back to the transfer spot. 55 would advance to that position. Caitlin quickly moves to the inside the first instance she can.
And definitely being on the outside is not a good thing.
No, right now, the way this track is running, it is definitely not. $95 of Quinn, by the way. His first race with a new team, he is leading by an impressive 1 full second margin. Racing in a Ford seems to be helping him out big time.
Yeah, the number 12 of LeBron last heat, he dominated in his Ford.
So Ford and Dodge appear to have the fastest cars, and of course, if Quinn does win, this will be the first win to come out of Procrastination's team, and it's not the full-time racer. That's the first time of the part-time guy.
That is a lot.
That is, you've seen that happen many times before. Not to name one in particular, just a good instance is Trevor Bain. Titus actually still making the transfer spots. He's kept his car up towards the top half of the field. 55 has moved around Yoakum.
King car trying to get back around the 55, try to get into that last transfer spot.
Got a few more laps to do so. He needs to move around and get to that inside if he wants that Camry to move up. But Lucas Oil 55 has different options, though. White flag will wave as they come through this time. 95 is still leading over the 37 of Scott Vickers. Looks like the field will stay afraid and watch the same coming around. Congratulations to the 95 of Quinn, a nice redemption win for the driver and the team. That is something exactly what they would need. Three of the cars that were not advancing is the 10 big Toyota Austin Yoakum, the 91 of Lubricar Motorsports, that is Tim Salmon, and the 92 of the Meyer Toyota Racing subway car, that is Caitlin. She will be going to the last chance race, which is coming up right after this one. We're here for the last chance qualifier. We have 12 cars going to be competing for this race. The thing here is, though, only 3 of them will be able to advance, and the bottom 9 cars will be eliminated from the race. Going through this field, we will start off. We have a Dodge sitting on pole. That is going to be Jay Langelier in the number 19, followed by Austin Yoakum and the number 10 JX Toyota. Louis McClure in the 87 Royal Purple Dodge. Another car out of Lubricar. We have the 91 of Tim Samlin. Aaron Douglas starting behind him in the Royal Purple 21. In the 62, Joseph Ernesto and his TM Designs Chevy. Kyle Keith in the 42 Target. Brad Smith in the Nikon 22. Connor Meyer in the Tide Pods Toyota. Caitlin in the number 92 Subway Toyota. Bigger Johnson in the Winfield Brant 28. And rounding out the field in the 60, we have Ryan DeLusso and the Tracker Chevy. We are definitely going to have a crazy one here for the last and the final transfer. 3 cars of this are only going to be the ones that are available to advance into the field. We're going to see things shaking up tonight. What in the heck are you guys expecting?
So far, throughout all the heat races, all of the pole sitters have won. The 19 of Jay hasn't really been known for his speed, more or less for his wrecking, especially the last few weeks. Definitely. So maybe him starting on the pole will start to change things around for that team.
Another interesting thing we need to talk about. The only 2 manufacturers the entire weekend to win is Dodge and Ford. Not a single Toyota, not a single Chevy has had the opportunity to run to the front. Especially Toyota, has been struggling. So a manufacturer that is not having a good day and a driver that's not entirely too consistent starting up front could definitely mean some changes for this race. Any concern? You have 2 Lubricar cars starting up here, Ben. You see both of your teammates out there. You're locked in, but do you have any faith for these young drivers that they could get up there?
To be honest with you, I would not be surprised if the 19 does not make it, just given his past history. I'm hoping he does, I have more faith in the 91 to make it through over the 19. But obviously, I want both like that to make it through.
The fishy man himself, Tim Salmon, is a fourth spot. He does have a lot of good potential, especially with an all-new race car, so that could be something that could be a big help for him. Track grip has been lessening all race long, and now they have 20 laps to worry about for this race. That could mean some good changes. These cars are going to be a little more packed up with each other, but we'll see how that affects them. Tire wear can also be an issue as this track is a little bit less of grip. These tires will be wearing a little bit more on a longer stretch. They've already had some track time as well, so that can also be another key factor for this race. A lot of Dodge in this race, despite them winning half the races so far.
All the Dodges are starting up front.
They put one in the back, which for that is, of course, the 28, the bigger John.
28, yeah, the Big Rake has had a really tough time the last few weeks.
He's had a bad season, a really bad season.
You know, he's shown a lot of potential early on, and then just something happened to really specifically that car. Because, you know, the 8 has been showing a lot of speed, and the 1 car who won Heat 1, he's starting to turn it around also.
I don't know what's maybe going on, if it's a sponsorship issue, that maybe a lack of funds that's hurting that particular race team, but that's normally a team that's really, really good and efficient. It was just doing extremely poorly this later half of this later beginning part of the season. So hopefully they turn it around.
And we have a previous race winner in here with Joseph Onesto starting 6th. He won a couple of weeks ago, so it's kind of a shocker to see him and Kyle Keith, too, actually.
Start.
Yeah, those are...
Engines.
I mean, these 3 guys, Douglas, Onesto, and Keith, are both drivers that are in the top 7 of the points in the last chance qualifier. This will definitely hurt him points-wise today. This could really shake things up for him.
That racing is a different animal than asphalt racing. So.
Find out what happens as the pace car will duck down here in a few seconds. Jay will take him to the line. They are bunched up. The field is excited. They are already getting ready, setting 3 wide. This is going to be an interesting one. Green flag is in the air. They start off 4 wide. Everybody trying to get to that last spot as soon as they possibly can. Douglas already moving into the transfer spot. Kicks out his teammate Luis. Keith right behind him.
Hey, you have to think, you know, in this race, it's almost every man for himself, no matter what team you're on. As you saw, you know, Douglas move his own car out of the way to get into that 3rd spot.
This is a difference of points as far as like a good 20 to 30 points. So you want every shot you can. As you can see, Aaron now moving into the 2nd spot on Austin Yoakum, and the 42 is also getting right behind him. Meyer, don't count him out. It's now going to the inside of the 87.
As the kind of the surprise, the 19 hasn't started to fall off yet.
I'm surprised as well. He's actually, if not gaining more ground, he's already more than a second ahead. That car, they may have found something different in it. That thing's that fast.
I will either confirm or deny.
Team owners, they have changed some things between that past couple of heat races on that 19 car. Dialed that thing in.
Sounds like they might have just swapped the numbers on the 9 and the 19 and gave Jay the 9 car.
Yank it out for the race. Get that car moving. Give me those extra points. Yoakum really trying as hard as he can to get back up to the 21. Separates them between him and the 42 is about an eighth of a second. They keep moving through. Caitlin showing her strength here. She's trying to get around the 87. Came from the back of the pack, racing now in the middle.
The 28 and the 60 kind of lost his group. Looks like they're not going to make it through.
Definitely not. They are struggling big time. Almost 7 seconds off the pace right now. And they're kind of just duking it out by themselves right now, having a little bit of fun on their own.
Trying not to be laughed.
Kind of surprised the 22 is not doing as well as we thought he really would. Brad Smith, we talked about him all year. Kind of unfortunate to see that car not going to be advancing. Demon, who we also talked about, him kind of hanging out in the later pack. The two Meyer Toyota racing cars. Luis, another high-end car out of the Western Auto faction. He's kind of hanging out right now. Yoakum starting to slow up a little bit, though. Coming around that past lap, the 62 actually showing some speed of 5.75. However, the 21 did a 5.24. That car is fast.
The 21 is probably about to start trying to catch the 19.
Certainly is. The gap is slowly closing.
All these drivers are just kind of riding. They're all in the transfer spot, so just
pretty
not
crazy
want
start to that race, though. They wasted no time shuffling around to begin this thing to try and reach their spots before it fanned out.
And with such few laps to go, you think the top three have pretty much got it in the bag.
They certainly do. I'm sure that a few of these teams are really happy. You have Dodge 1 and 2. Lubricar getting after on a very struggling season, getting their cars up there like this has got to be relieving. Douglas, who is currently third in points, this will be a big stage to him. He won't have to worry about losing as much as he would. And as well as a really nice rebound for Yoakum, who did so poorly in his heat race, to bounce back like this. This could be the transition that these three guys needed. We've seen drivers win from races like this before, so it could make the next one interesting. Sometimes you just come to the race and your car just isn't as dialed in as it thought it would. Get some track time and it can completely flip things around. Especially with the track not being fully broken in, the next race could be quite interesting.
I think we're on 12 race.
They were going to be more than doubling the field size too, so.
And there's going to be 27 total cars in the main.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them going full wide again to start of the main event, especially further towards the back you get.
White flag wave is unchanged. They are 4.4 seconds from fourth place. Jay Langler, who has had just a terrible start to the season, bounces back and will achieve one of his first race wins. While unofficial, is definitely a good confidence booster for Lubricar Motorsports and his entire faction team of all the other Dodges, scoring their third win in the weekend. So that will be Jay, Aaron, and Austin. Those three will be advancing into the final race. This is probably actually one of the highest finishing Toyotas up there too, so that'll be a good break for that manufacturer to get at least another car into that final race.
Way to go today.
And we're here for the A main at Eldora Speedway. 27 cars. We're going to be lined up here on the field. Of course, we are doing reverse order, which will be making things quite interesting for the start of this race from the finalizing of the field. You guys excited?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that puts Yoakum and Douglas on the front field. Langlier and Blackwell starting behind them. 79 of Osborne and Titus and the 88. Walsh and the 37. Quinn Isa starting alongside Jared Lemon, Brett Pritchard, and Big Man. Bumbura and Castile, Gabron, and Joey Sanders. Anissa Johnson starting alongside Andrew and the 00. Ben Thomas and Kevin Campbell, the 93. Trent McPherson and the Royal Purple 78 starting alongside Krasta. Spencer Davis starting alongside Evan Coward. The 35, Judy Wives Toyota starting alongside Porter and the McDonald's. Rounding up the field, Heat Race 1 winner, Thor Gunnarsson rounding out in the Monster Energy Dodge. A heck of a lot of Dodges are in this race. Almost all of them made it to the final. Toyota having a nice little kick to start off in the lead of this race. Only Ford and only Dodge has won the entire race setup. So with Toyota now on the lead, it has an advantage, however, with 40 laps. What do you guys think?
Honestly, I think whoever just has the fastest car at this point is going to win. Even though in the heat and the qualifying race, the pole sitter has pretty much led all the laps and won. But I think with this group of cars and how many laps, it's just whoever's the best on the dirt.
And of course,
Yeah, I second that.
tires now will definitely be an issue. Where there's going to be next to no grip running around this racetrack and almost no option for pitting during the race. A very slick track, and they also may even see some contact, a lot more than we've seen before.
Yeah, 'cause you saw how close the races. You compare Heat 4 to Heat 1, and they're two completely different things. Now that the grip is all gone, really.
And even with that, the track has still been faster, but they've still been maintaining control of these cars. However, we're taking one element from 9 to 12 cars, now doubling the size of the field and adding then some to 27. So we have guys who have not been around since Daytona joining in as we've had a heated development arise throughout the remaining of the season. A couple things to point out for that. We have Titus and Russ running in the top 10. So that's kind of cool to see these part-timers making it to the beginning of this portion of the race. Even though they aren't technically the faster of the cars, which would have been, of course, these guys over here. 00 is one to mention, though.
Yeah, the 00 of Andrew Weisbecker has been probably the biggest surprise of all the races. He comes here with really not that much experience. His first ever race, they put him the second Southern Pride car, and he's really been showing that, maybe he could be full-time one day.
He probably could. I mean, we got a nice shot here with both Southern Pride Racing Chevys, and they have a really nicely structured team, and that's a good addition that could be for the team. They have now been given the command. 27 cars will fire their engines up. Here we take you up to the green as we are having an issue with the start. That looks like the number 19 did not want to fire up, and then also the 79 is stalling. So already some issues. The team is going to have to move around, and they also give us an extra lap before we start this thing because of that.
And the rough year continues for the 19, it looks like, even after he won his heats. He won the last chance qualifier, actually, and barely made it in. And now have that issue.
79, they're just now getting that car going. This is definitely all jumbled up now. Didn't even get really to get this race started, and we're having a bunch of issues. It's just all because of the issues of moving around that 19 car. They're starting to get formed up over here at the front. Couple guys fighting for position. 15 bumping up. 79 trying to move back to his original starting position. Arguing with the driver next to him about where he's supposed to start. He's trying to move up and in there. There he goes. He'll move in. He's got to cycle around. That's got to be unfortunate, though, for Ben and your team. I mean, that was a big hope for you guys. It's kind of been taken away to start the race. And already, what do we have, man? These guys cannot get settled down.
I told we were in for a wild one.
They tell the field just to keep going. When we cycle around, we will see where we're at.
This looks like the 72 had issues.
I saw him pulling down on the pit road. 10 counted as leading this thing. A few cars in the back there are just struggling on getting going and moving around this field. That's going to cause some major implications on this thing. Because the 10 is actually your leader. Those other cars just never got going around the racetrack. And they're 4 wide hanging around. Another big fail for a Luber car. Ben pulls off the racetrack. Will join in the garage with the 19, who's actually back out on track. Something major going on with that team.
Could the Dodge issues maybe have crept their way back up.
Some contact 30 gets spun around in front of the leaders. Those are lap cars. Big wreck into the corner.
Total 6 fellows.
Major damage to the 21, the 63, and the 5. That was a lap car that got spun around in front of the leaders. And they all kind of piled up. They're still arguing. They spun another car out. That was the 30 of Spencer Davis, who had got spun around. You can see it going into the corner over here. We'll watch what happens. He was right there behind Brett Pritchard, and the 35 and 10 were alongside him. 35 cut down in front of him and had nowhere to go, so he just got hooked around with Weathers, and then Campbell, Sanders, Crasta, Porter, Lemon all just kind of had nowhere to go and piled in.
Pretty much all the cars running on the inside.
I mean, just what a ridiculous start to this race that we've had tonight. It was just a car that failed to get the motor started and moving along, and then a jumbled up start, putting these guys' laps down. I mean, it's been a little crazy already.
That's dirt track racing for you, though. But, I mean, I think really the main issue happened, though, was that when the 79 stalled after the 19 didn't get going.
Yeah,
he kind of sat on track for a while, which the cars on the side of him ended up getting passed by the pace car, and then it was just confusion from there.
Majorly as it was, cars that were involved with the wreck, the 30, he is currently hanging out in the 22nd position. The 21 is now dropped down to 12, 36, 93. They're all in that kind of mid-pack now. Once we're in the top 5, now are hanging out in very destroyed race cars toward the back. And that completely changes your top 5. We now have the Meyer Toyota Racing 15 Mobile 1. He is hanging up there now in the second spot. Todd Castile in third. Quinn in fourth in his Ford. And the 37 Toyota rounds out their top 5.
And not too far behind them is the 00. The lap cars are going to come up on the inside.
So 00, he is currently in the 8th spot, so not a bad start for him. This is his first official race. Of the two new guys that started here, he was able to transfer in and now rides in the top 10. These lap cars could make a big difference.
It looks like the 9 car got back out there.
He is back out on the racetrack, only a single lap down. Pace cars on pit road. They are excited and jumbled up and ready to go as the green flag will re-wave. Oh boy. 3 and 4 wide entering this corner.
Doesn't look like they're done wrecking yet.
No, they definitely are not. They are holding on though. Todd kind of gets loose and goes to the outside. Dirt flying out from the 15. Yeah, 3 and 4 is where it gets really crazy and tight. 4 wide to the back where that 00 is. Battling next to Royal Purple Lucas Oil. They hit each other. They're still hanging on. Nissa moves her team owner out of the way. She knows that car is not doing as fast as it normally would be.
Looks like even though the damaged cars can still, have some speed in them.
Not bad at all, as it would normally be expected. And we have a car going around. That is the 63 Crafta and Kevin Campbell. Probably some arguments from the previous race right there. Still hitting each other. 00 also looks like he got turned around there from that wreck as well. And it looks like a Braun was on pit road for some reason. Not sure what was wrong with the 12 car. Yeah, that's probably just some heat coming off from the previous wreck. Definitely got to be frustrated from starting at the beginning half of the field to then just getting, your cars absolutely annihilated. Austin Yoakum still leading this race in his Toyota. This is the first time Toyota has led all weekend long. But right behind him, that is, at least scoring-wise, that is Taki Steele in his Lord Code 99. Those 3 cars you see in front of him are all lapped down and will move to the inside before we re-race. 37 is in 3rd, Titus 4th. David Walsh is in 5th.
That's a pretty good running of the 88 for his first ever race with that team.
Yeah, I mean, he was announced shortly after Daytona, after they gotten all those sponsorships and everything. Of course, his car is still unsponsored, but was announced for the remainder of the super speedway and dirt races. So nice to see his running out here. He's not doing too bad. We got some cars coming down on pit road at the 51 and 35. Get some repairs made to their cars. Behind him, big man. Anissa Johnson's moving her way through the field for a car that's normally not that good. She's currently in the 8th spot.
Well, it looks like the 8 and the 95 had a little disagreement there.
Yeah, they're a little bit arguing over positions. 8 thinks he's in the 6th spot. 95, he thinks otherwise. So that's going to maybe a little bit of implication as we get to the start of this race. 8 definitely trying to move his way there. There he goes. They finally got that sorted out. 8 has been moved around him. Sometimes you just got to hold your ground. Every position counts. Am I right?
And they're trying to get positions any way they can today.
So the 51 and 35 both were disqualified in determination from FARCA racing officials due to their actions on the racing surface, possibly jumping restarts. Another one also for previous first wreck that occurred. That could be a big hit for them on points, especially to Brett Pritchard. That's unfortunate that he goes removed from the race.
Yeah, but I don't think he's really that worried about it, considering he does have a win.
Yeah, he's already locked in. He made his appearance into the final race. He's not in that later 9 that got knocked off, so I'm sure regardless, he's cool. Lights in the pace car are out. Field is getting ready to re-race. Yoakum, Castile, and the 37, 15, 95, all ready to go. We are already 3 and 4 wide. And Castile got a really good restart. They were 4 wide heading into that first corner. Davis kind of shaking things around for a fellow Florida timber manufacturer.
Some of these cars, like the 9, 79, 30, trying to get their lap back. The 99 trying to get the lead.
That's big for him. The number 9, Son Rocky with his Dodge, really wants to get that lap back and maintain all of that, so that he can rework his way through the field. And speaking toward that later half, we have the 63 and 93 side by side again as they're going 4 wide. Interesting to watch those two back there. 00 fortunately got shuffled to the back in all of this. And of course, he got knocked loose again by Russ, but he did it. That was a nice save. Good save by Andrew. And again, the 63 was hit by the 93. This time the favor was returned, and the 5 just plowed right into him. Those guys are not happy with each other. Yeah, 63's done.
Someone's gonna have to be parked, whether it be one of them or both of them.
That's the third incident between those two since the beginning of this race, as we're halfway into it. Kind of absurd. Good remarks, though. Unless it looks like the 10 may have gotten back around them.
But it appears that looks like the 79 might have got his lap back.
As he did. He has scored on the lead lap, so congratulations. I believe that's to Osborne. He'll be moved around the field. Still have Benjamin Thomas and Davis, though, who are trying to work their way past these two. Gibran, also in the upper part of this lappers, is now up there as well. Scored in the 4th position. 4th and 5th, those Royal Purple Dodgers are slowly making their way up there.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of rumors around the 27 car.
The rumor was that you see those two cars side by side with each other. The driver of the 78 to be replacing the driver of the 27. And she was told this was one of her last races. She has to prove herself. And maybe sometimes a good, excuse my language, kick in the ass is really all you need to start performing.
No.
If he finishes ahead of her this race, she's out of a ride.
And so this is basically whoever finishes higher of those two, I guess, is going to be the new 3rd full-time driver of that team.
It'll be quite interesting to see. 21 still riding the 11th spot. Didn't quite lose that lap and all of that incident that's been going on. 63 still scored back onto the racetrack. Of course, now, unfortunately, the other vehicle that's been involved in all that, the 5 is on pit road after being hit hard from the 63. That's crazy how that car is still not entirely destroyed.
He's got a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's going to go up to the 93 again.
I wouldn't doubt it. The lap cars drop to the inside. We will be getting ready now for this next restart. We're talking, try and go after him this time. It's going to get a little crazy. We're heading down to the final 15 laps. Pace car is going to drop down. Field bunches up. We're going to get ready for our next restart. We'll see how they go. Todd looking already to the outside. He wants this win bad. More Dodgers fans, and a big wreck behind him. That is Titus and his 88. From the beginning, he kind of got involved with Trenton, and then got hit by the 00, then 95. Kind of just unfortunate. Watch one more time. Yeah, I think he just got hooked from the Porter and the 78. He just locked bumpers, and couldn't do much about it.
And the 00 has been in all these accidents, and he's not at fault for any of them.
No, yeah, that's so unfortunate for him. Because of all this, he's been scored right now in the 16th spot where he was. Actually, he was in the later part of the field, so he is still moving up. It's just been really difficult because of the track position.
As the yellow flag is out. Assuming it was for the 88 spin.
Yeah, it was definitely for the 88 spin that was thrown as soon as they were going into the corner. And in between Trenton being moved back, the 36 now moves in between him and Anissa for the 5th spot. So that's another Toyota. Toyota making a nice recovery. They have 3 cars in the top 5 right now.
And the 36 doesn't have a rear end to it anymore.
No, it does not. That car has been chopped off.
And looking at this, it looks like the 9 car might have got his lap back.
Yes, that is correct. Benjamin Thomas has now scored in the 20th position with his lap back. So congratulations to Luber Carr. Definitely a rocky and shaky start to both of these race cars, but both the 9 and the 19. The 19, who failed to start this race, is now in the top 10 in the 8th position. What a recovery for Jay. But don't count Dodge out. They've got a lot of cars just lurking in the top 10. $25 cars coming on the track, 51-35, the only ones that are off. We have about 5 cars that are a lap down.
You know, that 30 car right there is one of those drivers who definitely wants his lap back.
It's kind of sad to see that he still hasn't recovered with that lap for as fast of a car he is. Normally would be a driver who would be scored up there. We're reaching inside our final top 10. We will not be doing a official 2-wide start, but I don't think that would affect these drivers from punching up as much as they possibly can before they drop this green.
They're still going to end up 4 wide on the restart.
These guys are hungry, and they want that spot. Yoakum trying to hold on to this Toyota. Castile behind them. More Toyotas. They peek out. Castile wants that inside spot. They are about to go green. Most of the flappers kind of stuck to the outside, which will be helping out the primary guys. Castile right behind him, trying to go for that lead. He's looking for Yoakum's 10 car. This will be his first win in quite a while. Castile has not won yet this season. He is inching closer and closer every corner to that 10 car.
Yoakum's trying to get his first career win.
Toyota versus Chevy. Spencer Davis moves forward a lap down behind them. It is just these two. Less than 10 to go. Crasta coming back out onto the racetrack. And they're bumper to bumper. He definitely wants to get by. He is putting the nose to the bumpers, saying, hey, I'm here.
He caught him. Now he's just got to pass him.
That can always be one of the more difficult parts. You just need to dive in there and get it. A really nice exit, though, for the 10.
The 37 is just kind of a little ways behind them in third.
He's showing he's got a nice, good finishing spot here. Anissa is in top 4 still, 36 behind. Langelier moves all the way up to 6th. Douglas has recovered now. It's back in 7th. 36 has moved to the 4th spot.
Tim's kind of pulling away from the 99 now.
These two keep swapping back around, these guys towards the back. got 4 to go. So 3 wide towards this back part. Ben trying to get as many points as he can. 4 wide in this middle part. Crafty in the 5 car. These guys are all damaged. If 5 breaks off, he knows he doesn't want to see what could happen from that. And what a wreck this late. It would cause the race to be over. Actually, the 5 is pulling off the racing surface. He may have a failure.
Or, maybe I cut a tire from all that damage. Might have had a rub.
Maybe so. Meanwhile, the 99 has re-caught Yoakum. Can he get around him, though, is going to be the bigger question. Hey, so far gone from these guys just losing as all the grips they had. 2 laps to go. It went from like 19.2s to 23-second lap times because of just no grip. Todd is bumper to bumper with him. White flag will be waving. Can he get to the inside of him, though?
Todd is there, and he gets the bumper to him.
Fight reserved the whole race and the whole season. I don't
more
think
chance.
it's enough. He's got his eye. Here he goes to the inside of the 10. Can Todd pass him? Will the 10 get the run off the corner? To the line. Checkered flag. It is Austin Yoakum.
Waited just a little bit too long to make the move.
He waited at the right point. As you see, he gives him the thumbs up. Very good racing from those 2 cars. Congratulations to Austin on his first win. That's well-deserved.
That's for sure.
So in your top 5, Austin Yoakum in the Jags 10, Castile and Lorco 99. 37 car finished 3rd. Mr. Johnson finished 4th. Joey Sanders 5th. Jay 6th. Trenton 7th. Aaron Wentworth 8th. Russ finished 9th. And Big Man finished 10th.
Another top 10 for that 8th car.
So Toyota, who had a really bad weekend, ended up coming out and winning. They almost lost it at the end, but what a great effort that Austin put on.
They definitely put it on when it really mattered, trying to get all these points.
They were just saving the equipment for that last race.
And he was a last-chance qualifier. Granted, the 19 did not officially start the race because of the issue he had. Got his lap back, worked all the way to the 6th spot. 21, involved in a massive wreck at the beginning of the race. Got his car fixed, worked himself all the way back up to the 8th. That is why that race is important. There's always hidden talent. And all of them finished in the top 10. One of them even held his ground to win the race against a veteran driver, Todd Castile.
Yeah, the 10 car was actually the very last driver to get in this race.
That's quite interesting as well. I mean, we also had a very interesting stat. While the racing was great and was shuffled around all over the field, we didn't have a single lead change. Pretty scarce. From all the heats, last chance. You want to, as the old racing dirt term, first into the turn will win. Win a race on the first lap. But
lead changes throughout a crazy race like that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as a definite new rivalry, Crasta and Campbell, 2 drivers who were not happy with each other at all. We will have to keep an eye on them for the next few races. They wrecked each other about 3 or 4 times throughout the first 20 laps of this race. They just kept going back and forth.
Yeah, officials must have told him something because there was no incident throughout the rest of the race, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be an incident next week.
Oh, yeah, those drivers definitely heated. FARCA officials making sure they're kept separate in the garage area currently. trying to avoid a fight if they can, because those drivers, just both of them not happy. But still, at the end of this, we had a fantastic race. It was great to have Ben to come into the booth with us and to see his team perform as well as they did. Congratulations on getting your lap back towards the end there. You still finished 19th out of 36 cars. It's not bad at all. So nice rebound for Jay, though. I mean, what do you have to say for Jay?
I'm surprised. I crapped all over him after his terrible performance in his heat race, and then he goes out and just blows everybody away in the LCQ, and despite the issue that the team had with the car on the grid here, and the main to bounce back and get a also top 5 out of it, that's pretty good. Very, very impressive.
A failed battery at the beginning, car gets immediately moved in, swapped that battery out from the door, got him back out into the racetrack. A great effort. I think you had a similar issue at the start of the race because you also followed suit immediately after and got that car back out into the track. So you guys stuck it out. Had some good finishes. That'll be a definite recovery points-wise for you guys. So hopefully this luck continues into the next races. Toyota-wise, I'm sure you can, even though it wasn't exactly on your team, but your satellite team on behalf, your car finished in the 11th spot. The satellite team won the race, had 3 cars are in the top 5. I'm sure you can't complain about that either, can you, Connor?
Well, it's definitely a good manufacturer day, and that's, really what you want. Even though none of my cars are in the top 10, to have the Supreme Motorsports have 3 of their 4 cars in the top 10 definitely shows that, Toyotas can do dirt too.
It definitely was needed to show, especially closer towards the heartland of where they're at. Definitely towards the end of this race, Dodge kept consistency throughout the entire weekend. They were certainly dominant at this racetrack. It was Dodge versus Toyota at the end of this. A few Chevys here and there. Ford really fell on their face. It was them and Dodge for the heat races, but, man, they fell on their faces for this final race. But then again, they were also involved, most of their cars, in that first wreck and then had that little spat between the two. So where are we headed to next?
Next week, we got Evergreen.
Evergreen, another night race. We're going to be having a short track action all the way on the West Coast. So that will be quite a good race, actually.
Looking forward to it.
Perfect track for this chassis. Appreciate you guys coming out here, enjoying this crazy race. We will see you guys next week on the West Coast. See you guys later.